I offer my loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of my beloved Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Dear Dr. Reddy, Chairman of Prasanthi Council, members of the Sri Sathya Sai World Foundation, Mr. Nimish Pandya, All India President of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization, members of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, respected elders, and dear brothers and sisters, Om Sri Sai Ram. My name is Julio Vivenes, and I am from Caracas, Venezuela. I serve in the Sathya Sai International Organization as the Zone Youth Coordinator for Zone 2B, which covers all South American countries. On this holy Guru Poornima day, we pay homage to our true Guru, our God, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. And we have a truly marvelous speaker from the Sathya Sai International Organization to give us a glimpse of His glory, His love, and His works. It is now my great honor to introduce our guest speaker for this evening on this auspicious day of Guru Poornima, Mr. George Bebedelis. George Bebedelis lives in Athens, Greece. He has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in history and philosophy of science and technology from the University of Athens. He's well versed in Sanskrit and ancient Greek languages, philosophy, and theosophy. George first came to Swami in 1987 at the age of 25, inspired by Swami's message of universal love and truth. Since then, he has been an active member of the Greek Sathya Sai organization. He has served in many official positions and is currently the National Council President of Greece. He is the director of the Institute of Sathya Sai Education of South Europe. He also teaches mechanical engineering in Athens. George has a deep understanding of Swami's teachings and has had many personal interactions with Bhagavan. Brothers and sisters, please welcome George Bebedelis.
Sarvarupadharam santam Sarvanamadaram Sivam Sachitanandarupam Advaitam Satyam Sivam Sundaram Satsitanandarupam Advaitam Satyam Sivam Sundaram. I offer my humble and loving salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, the Guru of Gurus. Respected elders, distinguished guests, dear brothers and sisters, a loving Sai Ram to all of you on this holy Guru Poornima day. Guru Poornima is maybe one of the most important days in the Sai calendar for all of us because we celebrate the sacred relation of teacher and disciple which binds us with Swami. Maybe this is the case most for me, because when I first visited Prasanthi Nilayam almost 30 years ago, it happened to be Guru Poornima. What was the purpose of my visit here? What urged me to do this long journey and face the hardships of my stay here? At those days, we didn't have all these facilities that we can enjoy now. For example, there are now small kiosks in the ashram serving ice cream, tea, coffee, even Italian cappuccino. This we could not imagine at those days. At that time, we had to sleep in log sheds, and often we didn't have even water to wash ourselves or to cool off from the heat, which was sometimes really unbearable. But the longing of the heart has nothing to do with material comfort. This longing is summarized in the Vedic prayer, Asato ma Satgamaya, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityur ma Amrutam Gamaya. From the unreal, lead me to the real. From darkness to light. From death to immortality. What is a Sat and what is Sat? The main question that puzzled my mind was, is there a truth which is different than this apparent reality perceived by the senses and grasped by the mind, and that we normally consider as real? And is there a teacher who can safely guide me to realize this truth? With a deep longing I came here, and this longing of my soul was answered when I had the first darshan of Bhagavan Baba. I knew that at last, after long searching, I have found my true guide, who could safely lead me from darkness to light, from death to immortality. In our world today, empiricism and realism grow from day to day more and more. Empiricism is the theory that knowledge comes only or primarily from sensory experience. This has as a natural consequence the growth of materialism, while metaphysics, the very center and heart of serious philosophy, is supported only by a few ones. In this critical moment of human thought, Avatar Baba has come to instill to us again faith in the existence of the divine truth which transcends empirical knowledge. He reminds us, science is below senses. Spirituality is beyond senses. Scientists ask, what is this? What is this? What is this? Sense ask, what is that? What is that? What is that? In the ancient times, philosophy was not like today. The main focus was the knowledge of transcendental truth. In the ancient thought, there are two main streams which have nurtured with their cool waters the minds and hearts of spiritual seekers. One stream is the Vedanta philosophy of India, which is the backbone of the Eastern thought. And the other stream is Greek philosophy, which is the foundation of Western thought. Actually, the two streams have a common source, which is lost in the distant years of antiquity. It is surprising how similar the philosophical principles of these two main streams are. Also, the languages in which these principles were expressed are cognate languages. Sanskrit and Greek are the two oldest languages, what the linguists today call Indo-European family of languages. Bhagavan Baba, the all-knowing divine guru, has often mentioned in his discourses the importance of ancient Greek philosophy. During interviews, he often asked the Greek devotees the question, who was the Guruji of Alexander the Great? And we answered, Aristotle Swami. Then he continued, who was the Guruji of Aristotle? Plato Swami. And who was the Guruji of Plato? Socrates Swami. Then Swami, hearing the name of Socrates, was immersed in bliss. He loved Socrates so much. One time in an interview he said, the right pronunciation of his name is not Socrates, it's Socrates. This is really the Greek pronunciation. We're very, very astonished how Swami knew the Greek pronunciation. How he could say that. Socrates, he said. And then he continued, Socrates was the same with me, but in a different time. He was teaching young students, as I do, the same fundamental inquiry like I all the time teach. Know thyself. I have to say that before meeting Swami, though I am Greek, I had no knowledge about Greek philosophy. My field of studies was mechanical engineering. I was always a good student in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and all these subjects that we used to call positive sciences. That means science that work with what is evident to the sensory observation and can be analyzed through experimental processes. According to positivism, real knowledge is only based on natural phenomena and their properties and relations. Thus, information derived from sensory experience, interpreted through reason and logic, forms the exclusive source of all authoritative knowledge. I was grown up like this. I went to the university, I went to the Polytechnic, so my mind was like, I had a positive mind. But sometime in my young age, fortunately in my young age, the question came, is this the only knowledge? Is there something beyond? Many years ago, I took a trip during Christmas here in Prasanthi, Christmas 1993, New Year 1994. I spent so many Christmases in the Divine Presence because this was the period of my holiday. I'm a teacher, so I used this period to visit Prasanthi Nilayam. During this trip, following Swami's guidance, I was studying a very important dialogue of Plato called Phaedo. In this book, Plato describes the last moments of Socrates in jail after he had been sentenced to death. During these last days of his life, he gave to his disciples his final teachings about the immortality of the soul. In this book, a very clear and simple definition of philosophy is given. Socrates says, I quote, "The true philosophers are always most eager to release the soul from the fetters of the body. And the study of philosophers is just this, the release and separation of the soul from the body." A very clear, simple, straight definition. Socrates was beyond body consciousness, fully aware of his divine nature as the immortal Atma. He died with his mind totally focused on God. His beloved deity was Apollo, and he achieved complete union with him. That's why Swami loved him so much. While studying in detail Socrates' teachings at that time, this book I was studying, I was bringing the book in the darshan daily. I was making notes very diligently. And I was really fascinated. At that time, we could bring books. Later, this was forbidden. But we were lucky to have our bag, to bring the book, a pen, and so we could spend. But I have to say, we didn't have this nice roof. So sometimes we had to face the sun, especially in the evening, because the sun was there, setting. And then men sitting at that side, all the sun was in our eyes. But we were waiting for Swami. This was the strength of our bhakti, of our visvasa to Swami. So while I studying in detail Socrates' teaching, I was really fascinated to discover the striking similarity with Sai's teachings. I was so grateful to Swami for having opened to me this path. I was just a mechanical engineer. Now I was immersed in philosophy. It was wonderful. Exactly as Socrates did, Swami always reminded us, reduce body consciousness, increase Atma consciousness. I will say this in Telugu because I have heard so many discourses of Swami repeating this guidance. Dehabhimanam tagginchukondi, Atmabhimanam penchukondi. I think this summarizes the teachings of Swami. Increase attachment to Atma, Atmabhimanam. Decrease attachment to the body. So my mind was fully concentrated on the teachings of Socrates, and I was yearning to get guidance straight from Swami. Because my master was here, I was reading this, I was expecting an interview. We had the chance to have interviews in the past, and I was waiting. Maybe Swami will give me this grace to give me guidance straight from him. Indeed, on the 3rd of January 1994, our group was blessed with an interview. It was an unforgettable day in my life. When we entered the room, Swami welcomed everybody, turned on the fan as a loving host. He gave vibhuti to the ladies and inquired about our stay in the ashram. After a while, he turned to me, looked straight in my eyes and asked me, "Boy," I was younger then, 22 years back. "Boy, what do you want?" I was prepared. I answered immediately, "I want you, Swami. I want God." Then Swami waved his hand and created a beautiful ring. It was silver with a golden Om on it. He showed it to everybody and said, as a proud jeweler who created a new jewelry, new design, you see, new design. Then he put it in my finger, in which it fitted exactly, and remarked, "You see, perfect size." I was the happiest person in the world. I had a present from my master, and what a present! A golden Om, the most ancient symbol of divine truth. Om Ityakaksharam Brahma, says Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. This one syllable Om is Brahma itself. So my happiness knew no bounds. But this was not all. Swami kept looking at me. I remember he inquired, I had a chance also to ask Swami about continuing our lessons in human values. Already at that time, I was a side teacher and we had small classes of human values in Greece. So I wanted to take a confirmation of Swami as to continue the lesson. Swami was very affirmative, yes, continue. So I was satisfied. I was very happy. Swami gave me the ring. I thought I had everything. Really didn't expect anything else. Swami was looking at me. He was going inside, then outside, then he was looking in my eyes, I'm sorry. When he saw privately some members of the group, again he asked me, "Boy, what do you want?" What more to say? But I had to answer to Swami. And then I said, "Swami, I want peace, strength, self-confidence." Then Swami asked again, "Why do you come here?" I answered, "I come for you, Swami. I come for God." And then Swami asked me, "Where is God?" "God is everywhere, Swami." Then his real teaching started. He stood up from his chair and looking straight into my eyes, he said, "You are also God. Now you think that you are a man, but this is a mistake. If you think you are a man, then you remain a man. You have to think, I am God, I am God, I am God. Look, who is Swami? I say my chair, but I'm not a chair. I am different from the chair. My handkerchief, it means I'm not a handkerchief. I'm different from the handkerchief. In the same way I say, my body. My is different, body is different. I am not the body. I am God. It is the same with you. Put a question to yourself. Who am I? Who am I? Then you will know the answer. I am not a body. I am not the senses. I am not the mind. I am the master of the body. I am the ruler of the senses. I am the immortal Atma. All this Swami was saying to me. So I was standing at the feet of my teacher, and the deepest yearning of my soul was fulfilled. My prayers had been heard by Swami. What I studied about Socrates, that philosophy is the release and separation of the soul from the body, the same truth was given to me by Swami. What else could I wish for? However, I dared to say to Swami, "Swami, I know this teaching, but it is difficult to realize." Then Swami became serious and severe. He didn't accept this hesitation of mine. And he said, "No, it is not difficult. It is easy. Don't think like that. Low aim is to blame. It is like when you have a chapati in your plate. When you have it in front of you, don't think, is it well cooked? Is the sauce tasty? And such useless questions. Take the chapati and eat it. Put it in your mouth. Then you experience the taste. Always think, I am God. I am God. I am God. Your breath reminds you 21,600 times per day this truth. So, so, that, I am that. I am He, I am God. You are not a body, you are not a mind, you are not the senses. You are Satchit Ananda. Sat is like water, Chit is like sugar. When you mix these two, then you have syrup, that is Ananda. This is your real sadhana. This knowledge does not come through reading. It is not bookish knowledge. Just taste it, realize it, experience it. Dear brothers and sisters, 22 years have passed after this divine Upadesa. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I have realized this knowledge, but with His grace, some moments of enlightenment are coming. Definitely, I don't lose my determination. I am sure that the full realization will come. What is needed is undivided attention to the goal and hard work. Swami has established the Sathya Sai organization as the best tool of our spiritual sadhana. The Sathya Sai International Organization works to help us realize our innate divinity by the royal road of selfless service. On Swami's Samadhi, out of the innumerable volumes of his teachings, just 4 words have been chosen to remind us of the easiest and the royal road to self-realization. Love all, serve all. Started by Bhagavan Baba, the global magnitude to which his work has quietly grown is astounding and unparalleled in the history of mankind. Inspired by him, the Sathya Sai International Organization spreads his universal message of pure love and selfless service through approximately 2,000 Sathya Sai centers in 122 countries outside of India. Sathya Sai volunteers engage in many forms of service in all 5 continents around the year. Hundreds of medical camps are held to serve thousands of needy people. Service is the best way to remove the ego and expand the individual I to we and finally to he. In another interview once, Swami had asked our group, I plus I equals what? I plus I equals what? Then a very known person in our group said proudly, Swami, I plus I equals I, only one. Then Swami was not satisfied. He said, no, this is not correct. I plus I equals we. Then we plus we, he. So the proper way is from I to we and finally to he. Swami has also developed the unique programs of Sai spiritual education and Sathya Sai education in human values. Thousands of educators are working with enthusiasm and zeal in almost every country of the world in order to plant the seeds of human values in the tender hearts of young boys and girls. As the children and the youth grow up, guided by the practice of human values, they can lead the world to an era of peace and prosperity, so much needed in our world today. However, we have to remember always that the ultimate goal of this organization is to help us realize our divine nature and know the truth which is beyond the constant changes in this ocean of life, this Bhava Sagara. After all, if we remember the first bhajan that Swami taught to us, Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam Dustara Bhava Sagara Terenam. So in this bhajan, he puts the goal. The goal is to cross the Bhava Sagara, not to stay here. Maybe this planet will not change. This is a place of duality. Good and bad won't stop to exist. Day and night is there. This is a world of duality, but we have to cross this world of duality and to reach to the oneness. Whatever we do, we have to be aware of the two fundamental truths as summarized by the great guru of the past, Adi Shankaracharya, the founder of Advaita Vedanta. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jiva Brahmaiva na Paraha. What does it mean? God is the only truth. The world is just an illusion. The individual, Jiva, is none other than God, Deva. Behind the apparent manifestation of this enchanting cosmos, there is only one reality without second. Truly speaking, this entire world is a mere illusion created by the mind. Bhagavan guides us to raise our consciousness beyond body and mind and realize the great truth, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. According to the well-known illustration of Vedanta philosophy, the cosmos is like a snake appearing on a rope because of the dusk of Maya, or Brahma, illusion. Swami sings, Brahmenaham, Brahmenatvam, Brahmenopasakam manaham, Brahme Ishvara bhavatvam, Brahmamulam idam jagat, Brahmamulam idam jagat. This is such a profound poem. All the truth is condensed in these two verses. Brahmenaham, Brahmenatvam. The I, the feeling of I, individual I, aham, arises because of illusion. The you, tvam, arises because of illusion. Even the feeling of being a worshipper, upasaka, a devotee, even this feeling arises out of illusion. Even the concept of a Godhead separate from you, Ishvara Bhavatvam, arises because of illusion. Illusion is indeed the basis of this cosmos. What greatest truth than this can ever be said? This is the culmination of all philosophy. This is the essence of the finest thoughts of the greatest thinkers of the past in East and West. When we develop this awareness of oneness and the presence of Sai within us, then we can experience real happiness, which is not limited by outer circumstances or dependent on the physical proximity to Sai. This is especially important now that Sai is not physically with us, but our Ananda should be independent of time and place. Our wisdom also should be independent of outer contact with the physical form of the Guru. This is the great lesson I've learned at his feet these 30 years of visiting Prasanthi Nilayam. Before leaving his body, Swami had very well prepared us for this. Now we have the golden chance to grasp this lesson and experience his omnipresence in our hearts. Close your physical eyes and open the eyes of your heart. What will you see? Swami, sitting in all his majestic glory in the lotus of your heart. In Taittiriya Upanishad, he said, Yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman sosnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschiteti. He who realizes Brahma residing in the sacred cave of his own heart has all his desires fulfilled, being in union with the all-knowing Brahma. Before ending my talk, I would like to share another experience with Swami. Because I had the blessing of close contact with Swami, I made my mind after the next summer to visit Prasanthi Nilayam and to stay more, 2 months. Our group, Sai group from Greece, was keep coming for 2-3 weeks. We had some interview with Swami, some interaction, very happy, we went back, we continued the work. But at that time I thought, no, I will go, it was my holidays. Immediately when I finished the school, I arrived to Prasanthi Nilayam. So I could have 1 more month, and maybe I will have the blessing of close contact of Swami, maybe an extra interview, some other teachings. I was like this. And very happily I arrived here. Then Swami was coming out the next day, day after day, and he didn't even see me. I had a letter in my hand, he didn't even take the letter. The days passed, so I had no attention of Swami. And so this little ego was so proud and thought that it has some special connection with Swami, has puffed up. And I was suffering so much. I came 1 year, 1 month, an extra month, in order to have this special connection with Swami. And Swami, he didn't give me nothing. He didn't even look at me. What happened? The group came. It was in the beginning of August. The group came. Then we had the scarves. We had the scarf like the Greek flag, blue and white ribbon. Maybe old devotees here, senior devotees, maybe they remember this scarf. And Swami, all the time joking, all the time finding a way to make a joke, he called our group Zebra Group. So when the group came, we had our scarves, Swami came. And he asked the leader of the group, when did you arrive? Today, Swami. How many? I don't remember. And then, for first time at this trip, I was sitting behind him. Then Swami looked at me and he said, you are 1 month here. Why 1 month? I was crying. How? I thought Swami didn't see me during 1 month. And then Swami came and he said, you are 1 month here. How can Swami knows how long time I can be here? Thousands of people are coming, going, and Swami said, you are 1 month here. And then he advised me, why 1 month? Then I got the message, of course. I got the message. This is not a sadhana to stay here. Because Swami is everywhere. He's omniscient, he knows everything. He's also omnipresent. It is not necessary to run after his form. Like this, for many years, he was training each and every one of us to love his form, yes, to pray for his sambhasam, his darshan, but also to be detached from this relation. And this was the message of the drama presented by the postgraduate students before yesterday, entitled Sadguru Sandesham. All the 4 great disciples of the past, Yogananda Paramahamsa, Vivekananda, Kakasaheb Dixit and Ananda got enlightened by their Sadgurus on the ultimate truth that Guru is not a mere mortal frame, but the inherent yet all-pervading Atma within. Swami has so many times underlined in his discourses that the word Guru consists of two syllables. Gu means guna atitaha, beyond the gunas, beyond the three gunas. Ru means rupa varjitaha, without form. In Ganapati Tarvasirsam is also chanted, Tvam gunatrayatitaha, tvam avastatrayatitaha, tvam dehatrayatitaha, tvam kalatrayatitaha. You are beyond the three gunas, beyond the three stages of consciousness, wakefulness, dream state, and deep sleep state, beyond the three bodies, gross, subtle, or causal, beyond the three dimensions of time, past, present, and future. Moreover, Gu means darkness and Ru means removal. So the true Guru is he who removes the darkness of ignorance and makes us realize our divine self. We are coming here to celebrate this auspicious day, and we decorate so beautiful Swami's chair. It is a feast of the eyes to see our Divine Master in such a beauty. But we have to remember that his real throne is situated in our hearts. We will feel his presence there only when we make our hearts pure, fragrant, and beautiful like this. Please let me not be misunderstood. Puttaparthi is the place where the avatar was born, lived, taught, and left his physical frame. Every corner here is sanctified by the living presence of the avatar. Prasanthi Nilayam is our own home. So we have to come here and get spiritual bliss by this holiest place. But at the same time, we have to remember that when we leave from here, Bhagavan is always with us, in front of us, behind us, around us, inside us. Our task is to perform our daily duties with this constant integrated awareness. The experience of oneness with God is the ultimate goal, the ultimate guri to which our divine Guru leads our lives. On this auspicious day of Guru Poornima, let us rededicate our lives to live his message of love and truth, experiencing thereof the divine bliss, Brahmanandam. This is the most valuable gift that Bhagavan Baba has come to give to each and every one of us. What greater gift can we ask for? I would like to close my talk with a bhajan, which Swami loved very much, and he has sung so many times at the end of his discourses. It is the first verse of the second chapter of Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Meaning, God is truth, wisdom, infinitude. Please join with me. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Brahma. Jnanam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Brahma. Gnanam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble pranams at Bhagwan's divine lotus feet. Esteemed elders and my dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you, it gives me great pleasure to introduce this evening's artist, a renowned flutist from Chennai, Srimati Shantala Subramanyam, who is here to offer her prayers and loved Bhagwan on this most auspicious occasion of Guru Poornima. Born in Bangalore, Srimati Shantala Subramanyam received her training in Carnatic music at Chennai, the land known for its emphasis on improvisation on beautiful ragas within a highly evolved rhythmic vocabulary. Srimati Shantala Subramanyam started playing flute in her early childhood under the tutelage of her father, Sri M.N. Subramanyam. Her brother, Sri Shashank, is also an eminent flute artist. She has also received her training from renowned vocalist, late Sri Vairamangalam Lakshmi Narayanan. She is currently pursuing vocal music training under Sri O.S. Tyagarajan and Sri T.V. Gopal Krishnan. She gratefully acknowledges the contributions of famed South Indian percussion artists Trichur Sri Narendran, Patri Satish Kumar and Parupalli Falgun towards enriching her rhythm training which spreads over a decade. Srimati Shantala Subramanyam is also a great teacher imparting training in South Indian vocal music, flute playing and reciting Kunnakol vocal rhythm to scores of students from India and abroad. This evening, she'll be accompanied by Kumari Akkarai Swarnalatha from Chennai, who received her tutelage from Sri Akkarai Swaminathan on violin. Sri Vijay Natesan from Chennai will be accompanying on mridangam. He was trained under Padma Bhushan T.V. Gopal Krishnan and Guru T.S. Nandakumar. Srimati Suganya Ram Gopalan from Bangalore will be accompanying on Ghatam. She was trained under Padma Bhushan Vikku Vinayak Ram. Please welcome Srimati Shantala Subramanyam and a team of fellow musicians. Jai Sai Ram.
Before Shantala starts her concert, I would like to share with you something which is very, very inspiring. This morning, as Shantala was getting ready to leave to Bangalore, she had a very nasty accident. And she required medical attention. In fact, all advice was that she should not come. But Shantala said, Swami has called me, I must go. And in spite of her pain, in spite of all traveling from Chennai, she is here at the lotus feet of our Divine Master. We pray Bhagavan to bless her and to resolve this problem. Sai Ram.
शंभु कुमारा गौरी तनया शंभु कुमारा गौरी तनया गजानना सदया जय जय शंभु कुमारा गौरी तनया
साईनाथ दीनानाथ ब्रह्म रूप सद्गुरु साईनाथ दीनानाथ ब्रह्म रूप सद्गुरु निराकार हे आकार सत्य साई सद्गुरु निराकार हे आकार सत्य साई सद्गुरु साईनाथ दीनानाथ ब्रह्म रूप सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु निर्विकार सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु निर्विकार सद्गुरु निर्विकार सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु निराकार ही आकार सत्य साई सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु निर्विकार सद्गुरु निर्विकार सद्गुरु ओंकार सद्गुरु माता पिता सद्गुरु सकल तुम ही 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 सद्गुरु साईनाथ दीनानाथ ब्रह्म रूप सद्गुरु
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सत्य साई देवा सत्य साई देवा शोभुद नानक शोभुद नानक सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम राम भी तुम कृष्ण भी तुम राम भी तुम कृष्ण भी तुम विश्व रूप तुम विश्व रूप तुम विश्वरूप तुम साई विश्वरूप तुम सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सत्य साई देवा शोभुद नानक सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता गुरुदेवमो मरियन्तयुनीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयुनीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई